right, we got the old Hydrovane. Beautiful. Take a look at that. All right. So once again, that's our Hydrovane. You can see we've got some pretty bulletproof, heavy-duty mounts right into the hull. Goes back in a V. It's both on the other side, and then with the Westsail, we're actually put right in onto the back of that plate, which is really, really good. So it's got three spots for it to be hooked in. But I just wanted to take a look at this, show you how this setup works. So right now, in the mechanism, we have this pin right here, so it's all locked up. Everything pretty much can't move, and it's sitting. We got that pin in there as well. And when you get underway, once you've left the dock and everything, because you don't want this swinging around, it's kind of like a little handhold, so if you needed to use it for an emergency tiller, you could. But essentially what we'd do is we'd pull this pin out, and then this can swing back and forth, because this knob right here is to engage it. So right now it's in the disengaged. Bring it over to the middle, and that's light wind. Bring it over all the way, and that is sort of heavier wind conditions. So it's disengaged and engaged. Now with our control lines, we can pull this, and you can see we angle our wind blade, and essentially what we're looking to do is always have the wind coming in straight on it, so that it stands nice and straight up and down, so that if it leans one way, that's going to then turn our rudder, pivot the rudder, and actually start to turn us in a different direction. So unlike the Aries, this system does a great job by having a second rudder, essentially an emergency rudder. So if something were to happen to ours, we'd still be able to utilize that. So, you know, with the Aries is connected right to our tiller and actually steers the boat using our rudder, which is something else I like a lot, especially on a Westsail, just because it is so, the Westsail is really, it's got a barn door back there, so that works out pretty well. But with these control lines, we can angle and make micro adjustments all we want, and it works out pretty well. So we got to name this one for this voyage we're heading out on, but I'm looking forward to testing this out. The most we've ever used it in is about 15 knots, and we'll definitely see a bit more weather than that this time. And then when we are underway, what we do essentially is we're just gonna lash the tiller off. We connect it up to that cleat and this cleat over here, and that just stays right in the center, and then we let the Hydrovane do all the work back there. So when we do get underway, this pin gets pulled, so now it can actually pivot. And right now it can't pivot very much because it's got the other pin in right here, but it's lashed off, so I don't want to do it. We'll get some video of actual underway usage. But again, to lock it off, we've got that pin right there. That keeps it nice and straight, and then we're good. And I don't know, you know, it's got this fabric cover to create the foil, and on an Aries it's actually a wood plank, but we have a smaller one for heavier weather, and this is the big one for lighter air. Everything seems to be pretty bulletproof on here. It's very reminiscent of how an Aries is set up with big heavy-duty plastic. And most of this thing is all aluminum and very, very heavily built, which is really, really good. So it'll be a fun system to play around with for sure. If we want to disconnect and take this off, we just unscrew this guy. This pops right up, screw that back in, and we're good to go. So yeah, that's our Hydrovane, and we're gonna mess around with it. It's done a pretty great job so far. Anytime we've taken this boat out, but yeah, it should be pretty fun.